Writing is one of our most important foundational technologies. Actually, it's two of them. It's a communications tool that can get a thought out of Aristotle's head and into mine over thousands of years and miles, but it's also a tool to think complex thoughts. There's a finite limit to what I can manage in my mind. There's no limit to the complexity of a thought I can manage on the page. Confusing or vague writing not only makes it harder to write a grant or research paper that other people can understand, it also makes it harder to develop the ideas and thoughts in that grant or research paper. So let's talk about how to put the technology of writing to work. Let's talk about concision. The first step in writing anything is getting your thoughts onto the page, which might mean writing them down in whatever order they occur to you. If you're writing about complex ideas and complicated processes, it's easy to generate sentences that are complex and complicated. That's a fine way to start, but at some point you have to go back and look for ways to simplify those sentences. Remember, your sentences aren't for you. You're crafting them for your reader, and your reader is a person, probably a busy one. Like you, they don't want to reread a sentence 3 times to make sense of it. When we start reading a sentence, we don't know the primary actor or action of the sentence. We don't even know which words work together to form phrases and make meaning. Whether we're conscious of it or not, this is the first thing we're doing as we read. Figuring out which words work together to create a phrase, a piece of information. As we assemble words into phrases, we discover the action and meaning of the sentence. George Washington Carver is the subject of this sentence, but because he shares part of his name with an even more famous man, we have to read to the word Carver to understand that bit of information. The next thing we learn is the action Carver took. He encouraged someone or something. Now we're reading to find out who or what that is. The answer is the 2-word phrase, cotton farmers. When we get to the words to plant, we know that cotton farmers is a complete phrase and a new phrase has begun. The sentence's longest and final piece of information, to plant peanuts and other nitrogen-fixing crops. In other words, reading is complex cognitive work. Concise sentences make the work of sorting out phrases easy, allowing a reader to process them subconsciously. And when that process is happening subconsciously, readers can focus on the ideas and information the writer is trying to convey. But when we have to stop and consciously work out which words go together, we become distracted from the meaning of the sentence. We're pulled out of the context of the piece of writing. Communication between writer and reader breaks down. When you're writing about complex ideas, experiments, and proposals, it's easy for the phrases of a sentence to become so long and complicated that a reader has to stop and consciously decipher what they are and how they fit together. To make a piece of writing more concise, revise the sentence to use shorter phrases. Keep the relationships between phrases simple, and avoid packing too much information into one sentence. Start with the most fundamental part of the sentence, the actor and the action, the subject and the predicate. When we're reading, we're searching for those phrases. Until we find and understand them, we can't know the point of the sentence. We're in cognitive suspense. But when the actor and action are put in simple terms at the beginning of the sentence, we're immediately oriented. In our earlier example, the actor and action are stated simply and immediately. The phrases are short, so they're easy to understand. They're next to each other, so the relationship between them is clear. We know the basic point of this sentence after just 4 words. But when a sentence feels too long, too dense, too difficult to piece together, the problem is probably with the sentence's modifiers. Modifiers are those parts of the sentence that define, describe, or elaborate on the subject, predicate, object, or other modifiers. Modifiers can add much useful information to a sentence, and they can appear almost anywhere in a sentence. This phrase, modifying George Washington Carver, for example, could appear before or after Carver appears in the sentence. That versatility means the decisions we make about modifiers represent a huge percentage of the choices we make as we write. The length of a sentence is primarily a function of how many times and in what ways we modify the sentence. When revising for concision, identify your sentence's modifiers and look for ways to simplify them. Some can be shortened or stated in fewer words. Others you might be able to cut completely. Sentences with too many modifiers in a row, or modifiers too far from the things they're modifying, can slow a reader down by forcing them to work out consciously the relationship between all those modifiers and the other parts of the sentence. In this example, farmers is followed by several modifiers. Each phrase is short, but each one takes us further away from the farmers. By generations is actually modifying depleted. Of successive plantings is modifying generations, and of cotton is modifying plantings. By the time we get to the end, it's like your uncle asking if you remember meeting his brother-in-law's cousin's neighbor. Too many relationships to keep track of, too many pieces of information to juggle. If a sentence has too many modifiers, try breaking it in two. Our new sentence has a new subject and predicate, which makes this information more active and dynamic. The phrases in these two sentences are simpler and fewer, and it's easier to figure out the relationships among them. Another way to break the unconscious rhythm of reading and distract your reader is to put a modifier somewhere in the sentence where the reader can't tell what it's meant to modify. This phrase is supposed to modify the farmers in the sentence, but it appears at the beginning, before we know what it's modifying. And the first person we meet in the sentence is Carver, so a reader might think the phrase is supposed to modify Carver, and have to reread the sentence once they understand their mistake. Like many overly complicated sentences, this one isn't impossible to understand, but it breaks the reader's momentum and distracts them from the writer's ideas. Here are the things we've talked about so far. This advice is all about making your reader's life easier, but writing concisely can also make your life easier. All this cutting, trimming, and simplifying will not only make your ideas clearer, it will reduce your word count. If you can communicate the same ideas in fewer words, you'll be able to slide under a word limit without sacrificing content, or free up space to add more information. No offense to George Washington Carver, let's look at some examples from the real world. This relatively short sentence isn't concise because of the long string of modifying phrases a reader must piece together. By the time we get to the end of this sentence, we have 5 phrases we have to connect to understand how the actor and action are being modified. On top of that, some of the relationships between these phrases are complicated. A reduced probability of losing something favorable is itself favorable, but it takes a second to work that out. Making the predicate more active allows us to reduce the number of phrases and simplify the relationships. This revision is only 3 words shorter, but a much faster read. This is a relatively short sentence that nevertheless slows down a reader with a long string of modifying phrases. There is buried action in the phrase "to the regulation," which we can use to create a more active predicate. The critical importance is implicit in this sentence and the larger paper. It can be cut with no loss. This sentence includes several modifying phrases the authors simply don't need. They're asking the reader to do work that results in no added information. Of course, this paper is about this work. We don't need to be reminded of that. Likewise, that it would be more appropriate for our purposes adds nothing. Obviously, the authors made their decisions based on their purposes, and they provide a far more specific rationale in the sentence's final modifying phrases. This revision cuts a dozen words without sacrificing anything. Your first draft is about putting your ideas in writing. Revision is about simplifying your sentences. Simpler sentences are easier to read and, ultimately, allow you to communicate what really matters. This is the power of concision.